Hello everyone, Lawrence here from Unicorn Reviews, and Silverstone kindly sent me this Strider 650 watt platinum power supply when they sent me the RLO 7 case. Now, I wasn't much of a fan of that case, but I do really like this power supply, so I'm going to do an unboxing of it. Now, just a heads up, I've already used this one, so I reboxed it and now I'm going to unbox it. So let's bring the camera in and have a look. Alright, now Silverstone obviously isn't scared of finding niches, so this time they've gone for the world's smallest 80 plus platinum full modular ATX power supply. So obviously the more words you put in there, the easier it is to get the world's smallest, the world's first, the world's most powerful, whatever. But actually it's a really cool product. Now, first of all, the box, they get this platinum accent because it's 80 plus platinum rated. So this is going to be incredibly efficient. So if you care about your power usage, that's going to be awesome for you. On this side of the box, you can see just how the power gets distributed. So you can read the rails here. So basically everything's on this single 12 volt rail. So you'll be fine for whatever configuration you get, as long as it uses less than 650 watts, obviously. Moving on to this other side of the box, let's hope it will actually focus on there. We can see the type of cables we get. So you get this single 24 pin, obviously a single dual 4 pin, so that's just the 8 pin for your motherboard. And then there are 4 8 pins for PCIe. So that's dual graphics cards in most cases. Dual graphics cards with only 650 watts, you may say, but actually it's going to be plenty. So if you get any dual graphics card setup and you don't have the most ridiculous CPU, you'll be fine with this one. There's 8 SATA connectors, 6 Molex connectors, I hate these, and 2 floppy connectors. So let's actually have a look in the box itself. So as I said, I've already been using this power supply for, I think, 3 weeks in the RLO 7. So the first thing you get is documentation. So you can just read about your power supply in there. There's not really a lot of interesting information in there, is it? It's just, you know, the basics that they have to cover. There's also this booklet, which is a bit more in-depth, and you get nice pictures, information about your cables, how to install everything, just the usual. So who cares about this? The reason I'm doing an unboxing again is because I'm starting to really like it when companies package their stuff properly. You know, some companies just give you a power supply in a bag. Silverstone does nice packaging, so let's talk about that. The first thing are these Velcro straps. So you do get 4 Velcro straps. Velcro straps are always handy because you can reuse them, whereas zip ties you can't reuse. You obviously also get power supply screws and fan screws. These are probably from some other product. They just ended up in here. You get a power cable for whatever region it is that you're in. So here in Europe we get this type of power cable. Some zip ties, so there's 4 in there right now, so it probably came with 4 zip ties. And then we have all these cables. Now, Silverstone goes for the unsleeved but all black cables. So these are all just black flat cables. They're pretty long actually. So for example, this is the first Molex point, so that's a pretty long cable, so you won't have any issues even if you have a larger case to reach everything. Now, sometimes having really long cables can also be a bit annoying, but this 8 pin, for example, I can hardly fit it in the screen even. So it's a really long one, so it's gonna easily reach from the bottom basement section of your case all the way to the top and plug into your motherboard. So I really like how it's all flat black cables because it makes it really easy to just fold them over like so when you have to cable manage them in like really tight areas. But I would like combination cables on here. So right here, this is SATA, and there's 2 of these cables. And then there are also these Molex cables, so there's also 2 of these. But if you have to run, and this is actually a really realistic scenario, 2 SSDs and an RGB controller, chances are the RGB controller is going to be Molex, and then you have to run 2 cables. Whereas if with other power supplies from, let's say, Corsair, Be Quiet, there was this combination cable, you would only have to run 1. So that's maybe something that, you know, I could recommend Silverstone to do for a future product. Another SATA power cable, and then these are the graphics card cables. So they're the single cable type that then split up into two cables. In a way I like this because there's only one cable on the back of your case, so cable management is easy, but I don't really like the way this type of U-bend looks when you have to then install it into your case. So I run extenders for that reason. But yeah, some people will like it. The 24 pin, it's really massive. They went with this weird choice of going dual flats, and then there's also a third cable. So when you're using this one, make sure you plug in this part as well, because if you forget, you'll have to take apart your entire system again. I found that out the hard way. Anyway, another graphics card power cable, so that's for the second graphics card. And then we actually get the power supply unit itself. Oh, and some silica gel, but I don't have a guy called Jack here. This is like a one-man operation. Anyway, I really like when companies use this sort of foam because it's basically bomb-proof. Anything can happen to your power supply. It's not going to damage it when you have this foam around it. So it's a nice tight fit. And then there's the power supply itself right here. So the first thing you notice is, because this is the world's smallest, they make this somewhat weird design choice where the fan in here is only a 120mm fan, but obviously ATX power supplies are 140mm wide, which is why most companies put a 135 fan in here. Silverstone has decided to go with the 120, which in my observations, and I haven't used my sound meter to compare it at the same load to other power supplies, but it is slightly louder than my Be Quiet straight power supplies, for example. But that's okay, really. There's also a bit of protective foil over the Silverstone logo, so that nice glossy finish won't get damaged. Really nice, like it. And there's a fan grill, easy to remove. Of course, you shouldn't be taking apart your power supplies because it'll void your warranty, although recent US law has said that these stickers don't mean anything. But anyway, if you want to open it to modify a few things inside, it's easy enough to do. On the back side, there's just the Silverstone logo. So very, very simply done, actually. This one side is completely empty, so if you go power supply down in your build, you're just going to see black on this side and a black top. If you go power supply up, you'll get the upside down rail amp distribution. It's very simple, single rail, single 12-volt rail, so it works, it's good enough. On this side, a lot of vents for that air, so you can cool it easily. And then on the other side are all your connectors. So Silverstone has easily grouped up the motherboard stuff, the peripheral stuff, and then the graphics card stuff is in blue, so you can't possibly get it wrong, because there's enough idiots who put 8-pin power supply or 8-pin motherboard connectors into their graphics card connectors and then complain when everything catches fire. Now about the fan, it says so on the back of the box. I have to put it in this direction for you guys. But over here on the back, it actually gives you all the graphs about noise distribution. So as you can see right here, it's somewhat passive. The first, was that 20%, 15% of load, and then it ramps up. However, because of how you buy a power supply, you're always going to be in this middle region right here. Silverstone says it's a minimum of 18 decibels. They don't actually list the amount of decibels here, but it's a minimum. So at this point, that's 18 decibels, and it gets quite a bit louder. So it's probably somewhere around the 40 decibel range. Although, again, I haven't been able to measure it because actually my graphics card is louder than this power supply when I put load on it. So I don't have the proper testing equipment for that stuff. Anyway, guys, if you liked this unboxing, it's been years since I've done one, which is pretty much why I wanted to do one again. If you like the unboxing, hit that thumbs up. What side do I put it? Do I put it like so? Yeah, hit the thumbs up. No, is that a thumbs down or a thumbs up for you guys? I don't know, everything's mirrored. Anyway, like, share, subscribe, follow me on Instagram, Twitter, support the channel on Patreon, and that's pretty much it. I'm gonna get a very cold beverage because it's absolutely boiling in here. But massive thanks for watching, see you next week.